1, 2, 3, come on.
Hello everyone. Today I have taken the topic from class 11th. The chapter name is functions. In that, how to draw a graph of a trigonometric functions. One of the trigonometric function, it is tangent. Okay, how we can draw a graph of a tangent. Here is. Before we are going with the graph of tangent, we must know regarding domain and as well as range. Okay, I hope you all know regarding domain as well as the range. So even though I'm going to give you a brief explanations regarding those two. In function, especially domain as well as the range. What exactly domain means? So domain means all the possible inputs. So all possible inputs which we are going to give for any equation. So that's we call it as a domain. As well as the range means the all the possible outcomes or outputs, even though we can call it as outcomes, values, that will be the range. Like how? So let me explain that by giving an example. So like so for example, so an expression f of x is equals to x minus 2 divided by 3 minus x. Here you can observe the domain, as I told you, that all possible input values. For example, if I have taken any values for this x, so whatever the value which I'm going to take here now, so that is what we will call it as input values. Okay, so that's why this is what we'll call it as a domain. Okay, so the all input values, once after taken the values, what the output we are going to get, the output. So if I have taken the value of x here, means definitely I'm going to substitute here. Okay, so at last I'm going to get one value over there. So that output values between. Okay, so that is by using a number line, so we are going to find out that. So that is what we will call it as a range. Okay, so this is quite the simplest form to remember domain as well as the range. Okay, yeah, so once after you started with your problems, you will come to know that so what will be the domain as well as the range. So here let me tell you some more important regarding this, especially in any expressions. Especially, even though you can take this one as y, for example, y is equals to x minus 2 divided by 3 minus x. Okay, so sometimes some students, they can take this one as f of x as y, and we are going to simplify this in the simplest form. So and here what I'm going to tell you here means there are two things that you're supposed to remember here. What are those two things means? Especially in this denominator must not be equal to 0. Remember this, denominator should not be equal to 0. Okay, so that's a one important point. And as well as another one, for example, if there is a square root in the denominators, so in that square root, especially in the denominators, should not have a negative term or negative number, should not contain the negative expressions after solving. If for example, if I'm going with the 6, just imagine that if I'm going with the 6, what is the value now? So if I'm going with the 6 means I'm going to get so minus 3. We should not get a negative here. Okay, so these two are the very important points that you're supposed to remember here. This one must be always greater than 0. Greater than 0. It should be a greater than 0. Is it clear? Yeah, okay. So these two, if you remember, it's just a basic one. Okay, so let me come to the point. So first of all, so graph of tangent. Okay, so here it is a graph of tangent. So in this graph of tangent, I have taken that f of x is equals to tan x, or as I told you that y is equals to tan x. First thing that you're supposed to take here, so tan x means it is nothing but sin x divided by cos x, correct? Yeah, trigonometric functions, right? Okay, so here, so remember that, so when you are going to construct or when you're going to draw the graph of a tangent, so cos x and means denominators, so where the denominators will equals to 0 here, especially for the cos x. Okay, so for cos x it will be a 0 for pi by 2. Okay, so pi by 2, that's the key point that you're supposed to remember. Okay, so even if you go with the cot also same. Okay, but not the value. Okay, so denominators, because for cot x you will get so cos x by sin x. Okay, so here let me take a scale, and as I told you that it is for pi by 2. Let me mark some points here. Two, 2, and here it is 2. Yeah. Okay, so as I told you here, so the denominators will be 0 for pi by 2. So then let me take this one as pi by 2. Okay, and next, and here pi by 2, and here pi, then this is 3 pi by 2. So when I go to the left side, okay, so this one negative pi by 2 minus pi by 2, and let me take this one as minus 3 pi by 2. Yeah, okay, so this one, did you get now? Yeah, okay, so let me construct or draw a dotted line for this. Yeah, okay, so and here for tan, after this it's quite simple. So now in between these two, for this, so the middle one, so the middle one will be a 0, right? Okay, so number line system everybody knows, right? So here it is, this point pi by 2, so cos x, this is the way you're going to find out. Okay, remember, and what will be the middle point here? Okay, so it will be a 0, right? So remember, okay, so always, so for two units, so whenever if we are going to take two units, in between those two the middle one will be a 0 here. Okay, so then this one will be a 0, but you can't write it as a 0. Okay, so just remember that, because you need that, so it will become a 0 while you are taking a values for trigonometric functions, remember that. Okay, so but here pi by 2 means it is nothing but pi. Okay, so here it is pi by 2 minus pi by 2 means this is minus pi, remember that. See, simple, quite simple. This is pi by 2, it means it is nothing but 1 pi by 2, and here it is 2 pi by 2, 2 will get cancelled, remaining pi, that's why. Okay, so then 3 pi by 2, so similarly it will goes on. Similarly here also to the left side. Okay, so let us see the asymptotes. So in this, while you are drawing that, so to the right side, you just come to the right side, and here asymptotes will start. So you can draw. Yeah, this is the way, and here also, from here if you start, it means, yeah, similarly to the left side also. This is the way we are going to construct or draw tan functions. Okay, so it's quite same. You can even though continue that for the so now I have taken for x-axis. So similarly, if I'm going with the y-axis, so for example, the unit I can take it as 1, and here it is I can take it as -1, -1. Okay, so similarly, so in between, if you are going further graph, okay, so half of this so will be somewhere else here, and the points will come over here, right? Okay, so graph should come a little bit over here. Okay, so then it will come like that. Okay, so then it will become pi by 4, half of that, half of this. Okay, so similarly, this is the way which we are going to construct a graph of tangents here. Okay, even if you are going to construct a graph still more further, means always, as I told you, that in between, so here also in between half of this, okay, somewhere else it will come. Okay, so you have to take the values of y-axis here. Okay, so similarly to the upward also. Okay, so similarly you can take that and you can construct a graph, so then you will get a graph like that. So for example, so if I constructed a straight line over here, means the graph will come over like this. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I hope you all understood regarding how to construct a graph of a tangent. So remember that. Okay, so thank you.